aren't a lot on pending. Like Wrath the Skies instead. I feel like going Esper should be even like more reason to play a couple pendings. That command. Thought Season Solitude. Roll. Round 1. Says opponent last seen on Boros energy, so let's put that to the test. We're swapping an Edict for a Betrayal, the 4 Thoughtseize, and the other one. 4 Thoughtseas and 2nd Spell Snare for 3rd and 4th Bowmasters. And then the 2 cut downs in the sideboard for 2 Shoot the Sheriffs. But for the most part, it's his list. That's why, like, on Moxfield, I'm calling it Mattia's list. I'm not calling it my own. Don't worry. Cameo the Lightning Rod. Also, I like that Mattia was on Dark Slick Shores and not Gloomlake Verge. I think it was like a 2-1 split, but still more Dark Slick Shores. Like that list we played yesterday that was on like double Gloomlake Verge that I kept complaining about. What do you think of the 2 Cling? I think Cling to Dust is like a pretty good card. Verge looked worse like every single time I drew it. I'm gonna play the Frog and pass. Not play out the land, save an extra discard to the Frog if I need it. Been really enjoying your Esper list with the Nasty Teferi. I think that list has got legs, honestly. I think we're kind of sleeping on that one. I'm gonna get super punished by like a, all right. Annoying, but sure. I thought I was gonna get super punished by like a Goblin Bombardment. I kind of want to just get down Murktide. They missed their 3rd land drop. I could attack at the cat token or attack them. They block with the cat token. I discard. could go all in on this frog. Pass. Don't really understand holding the land there, not holding up snare cling. So snare hole looks a lot better if they have missed land 2-drop, yeah. But what are the odds of them having missed land 2-drop versus any 3-mana play like Plage or a Spyro, something like that, or another 1-drop into something, like a bunch of stuff that snare doesn't do anything against, but the land is like a free discard to Psychic Frog if they have a Flage. Just trying to play the odds a little bit. All right, so now we're attacking in because if they want to give up the Ocelot Pride to flip the Ajani, I'm fine with that. Little static prison kind of sucks. Hardment. Yep. All right. If I discard here, they would have to sack off a cat token to kill this frog. They have Twitch not sending me the notification. Well, I can't do much about that, unfortunately. think we're just going base with the FrogTide. Off of Johnny with the frog. I had one more point of damage if I discarded the force of negation first. Didn't know. Well, I didn't know at the time if I wanted to discard the force of negation. Their hand just like mono a Johnny's. Mono removal. Double static prison. Double Johnny. Goblin bombardment. Try again. Definitely some points there that I don't know if I think I misplayed. Viewing those later. Like, I think the first turn that I had potential to play out FrogTide, I should have. Not to trying to be harsh, but I think not holding up snare, cling that turn 3, delayed our FrogTide, and let them get down to Johnny. It's not being harsh, it's just hindsight thinking. Like, yeah, when your opponent misses their third land drop and plays out something, it looks a lot worse. But like, my play was playing around Flage. Which one do you want to play around? Because you can't play around both. I get cycling the cling to dust, but if they don't play out something that I can cling to dust, I don't want to use it right there because then I'm not going to have it to get a flage later. So it's just like picking what you want to play around. I chose to play around flage better, and it didn't work out. See how it goes this time around. Really deliberating on their land drop choice. Lost connection, just rejoined. Longest fetch. I hope they don't. Okay. I was going to say, I hope they don't time out with this fetch on the stack. Well, they cracked their fetch and then lost connection to the game and then came back, waited another minute, and then finally clicked something for their fetch. Taskbar up. And said their Wi-Fi is on the fritz. It's deciding if not casting a flage is suspicious. Engineered explosives right here would be pretty hot. Also pretty hot. See if we can find a third land drop or fourth land drop. Find a dreams. Goblin bombardment, a Johnny. Okay, so opponent has got an Orum's chant and a Goblin bombardment. Chant, Goblin bombardment. They're gonna. I was really wondering if they were gonna fire off this Orum's chant. I am ecstatic that they did. Free card out of hand for like not having to do anything. Or is yours, opponent? I think I'm just double blocking this because they'll have to give up their cat token to kill one of these. Means Frog gets in for free without having to exile anything. The body off the board. Draw. I noticed this in the list earlier. Why does he only have one Undercity sewers? just like never have a 2-tap land hand, but let's cycle this Cling to Dust and see what we hit. They can't have a Flage to follow this up. Card our 2 lands. I know tap lands can be bad, but like surveil lands can be life-changing. Good. Oh, they didn't even put the damage on the frog. I'm gonna take this 3 and not fire off a push or anything yet, because if their last card is like an Ajani, I want to be able to kill it before they flip it. Since they used up all their energy, I'm not afraid of like another discharge. Aaron, what's up? Picked Orum's Chant. Carry on. Not sure I'm feeling these Orum's Chants out of the board from them. We're gonna end a turn, go for shoot the sheriff on the Ajani. They can sack the cat to flip it. Kill it with the psychic frog. Save my edict. Also gone for the edict and saved the shoot the sheriff. Change it one way or the other. All very suspicious. Like that last turn? I don't think so. Like I'm holding up 3 mana with multiple cards in hand. And if you go for the flip and I have a removal spell, you just like blow yourself out of the water. I think that was suspicious. I definitely don't agree with the Orum's chance, but not in a suspicious way. Just feel like you'd rather have a spell that does something way. early. I think I'm going to take a hit off of this Ragavan. Maybe on second thought. We'll fetch and see if they Orum's chant in response to my fetch. No. Play Frog next turn. Kept a 1 lander. I think they also kept a static prison. Damn it. Take a turn off. I think Dreams and Preordain are free discards for me here. Because if they go like Static Prison, take out the Frog, then I can EE, blow up the Ragavan and the Static Prison. And if this is just like another Galvanic Discharge, I'll probably just go all in on the Frog. Their Guide of Souls. All right. I don't want to just get my 3rd basic, so I just don't have to worry about Blood Moon. That Ragavan. Charge. Might as well attack all out. Yeah, because this is getting blown one way or the other. Playing out FrogTide for 3. I want to hold up Bowmaster for anything. Out FrogTide here. I can hold up like discard, pump with Frog again. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we would not have lethal through a... No, we would because of the fetch. We would have lethal through a Flage here. That's kind of cool. All right, so despite the game one I hardly know her. Decent hand indeed. If it is Belcher, I'm gonna lead on the Thoughtseize to try to snag like a Lotus Bloom. Sure, that's what I want to take before I do anything else. Yeah. Got an answer to Meshi. Hope they haven't picked up an answer to the Frog here. They didn't go for a turn 2 like they did. Didn't go for a turn 2 Thunder Trap. If there was ever anything about this deck that bugged me, it's just the fact that like they have no card advantage. There's no card filtering. There's nothing like that. So everything they hit is just like a natural draw off the top. So whenever they hit like the right cards in a right sequence, this is like the only deck I get slightly agitated against because it's, oh, you had to just naturally draw that. Out of here. Yeah. Fan of forms of card advantage. Play out Subtlety instead of Counterspell in case this last card's a Spell Snare. Put Tameshi back on top. We're going to attack. Jutsu in picking up the subtlety. Similar reasons. Rails, see what we find. Pretty good. They go. Eshi back on top. To dust this Lotus Bloom. Could have done that on my turn to flip Tamio, but like I'm already flipping Tamio pretty easily. I think I'm just going to pass here. Hold up, force a negation, or crack clue fatal push if they go for Tameshi again. Like they do. It's off a frog. Forcing, exiling the frog there instead of just hard casting the force. So if they have like disrupting shoal 3-drop back for the force, then I can still have sack a clue, fatal push the Tameshi. But I'm pretty sure one of these other 2 cards is like a spell snare. That's the way it was feeling to me. Bowmaster. Bowmaster's really not bad in this matchup. It's like having something to flash in and do instead of holding up a counter spell is nice. I think the other stuff I'm bringing in is just better. Like a removal spell. Is edict necessary? It's not. You want some like decent amount of removal in the matchup though, because removal spells effectively turn off Flare of Denial. So not only like being able to interact with Tameshi, but having a way to take out an opposing flare like out of the equation is nice. Hold up 2 mana for. They like to find like a thought seize. Thought seize, dreams of steel and oil. Erupting shoal. All right, how do I want to approach this? That I know they have disrupting shoal. Pass with counterspell this turn, have like double thought seize next turn. They are somehow able to jam through a Tameshi. Thought seize you. Gonna let that one go. I don't want to counterspell the flare because if they just have like 2 payoffs in hand, then I kind of wreck myself. Like if they've got Belcher plus Tameshi or Belcher plus Whir or something, then I end up not having answers for like both of them right there. Just kind of trying to limit the number of things that I need to interact with. Gonna let Whir go because if they have a Belcher in hand, I have to interact with that. All right, so they can go get a Belcher. Not gonna get greedy here. Fortunately, they know about the counter spell because they just put it back into our hand. So good. Need to buy a little bit of time. Buy a little bit of time till we can start going a little heavier in on the frog. Seventh mana is changing anything. Gonna try to force this instead of counter spell, because if this resolves, exiling it in the face of Tameshi is a lot better than just putting it in the graveyard. And now we're gonna throw a couple cards into the frog. Set up for lethal attack next turn behind triple counter spell. Good luck, have fun. No. I guess technically they could have Odawara out of the sideboard or something weird like that. I guess Odawara is not realistic. Maybe like Wipe Away could be realistic. But I don't think I'm ever playing around that. Unless you have double Riddler out, in which case you're probably just winning that game anyway. And I don't like paying 4 mana to not impact the game. So it just needs like other stuff going on to be relevant. And I think in a mirror match like that, you kind of need more stuff that's good on its own. I don't know what Tutors is playing, so I'm not going to think about mulligan decisions too much. Is it actually Yogg? Uh. I think Yogg plays Blooming Marsh, though. Oh, it's Lantern. It's Lantern. Lantern, lantern. Down to 4 cards in hand. Pass the turn. If he's got like Thoughtseize into this ensnaring bridge, that kind of sucks for me. If it's just play out ensnaring bridge or that, okay. Like he knows that I've got this sink into stupor. I think I just have to go Murktide plus Frog. Frog. Father. Carry on. Haven't done the math to see if this is lethal next turn or not. Ensnaring bridge. Got an ancient stirrings and an unknown. Lantern of Insight. Counterspell's really, really good. So do I need to... This is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. It's lethal. Discard here. Discard here. Sink into stupor, the ensnaring bridge. Back in for lethal. Lantern control. What is my board plan for Lantern? Yes. Dreams, yes. Sign, yes. No. Rail, no. I could probably keep Edict in. It answers Tezzeret. Holding, no. Snare, no. This. Anything else I want? Harbinger, not really. No. Scolding, snare. Spellbomb. Anything that makes me want Spellbomb. Let's roll with it. Players give me hope for humanity. Hey, sounds like you didn't have much hope to begin with. Pan is definitely not very good, but I really don't want to mull too aggressively against the Thoughtseize deck. If I can like evoke subtlety on a Tezzeret, I guess that would be pretty sweet. Be in a bit of trouble if they've got third copy of Thoughtseize. A lot of Urza sagas. Cool if you didn't. Hey. Knew that was a very real possibility anyway, so I'm gonna beat my head up over it. Wonder why we would hold up a mana. Hey. So I guess we're probably EEing on one next turn. Like flash in subtlety here, EE on one. Go for 0 or see like what they get off this. All right, so they've got a second copy of Ensnaring Bridge. We need a Tameo. If I can find a Tameo pretty quickly, that answers one of them. Cameo. You. The yard. Stick to my guns and don't keep the frog because it's not a Tameo. Pass. Pretty sure he's got a fatal push in hand. We deal with these bridges. We cannot. Gotta find a way to see if we can work around them. Not 100% sure what that would be at the moment, but I've already seen both of our force of negations. Need Tameo to rebuy Sink into Stupor. That is our out. For that to work, we need to find the Tameos. Tameo target them with Bowmaster out? No, Tameo only targets, or Bowmaster only triggers on my opponent drawing stuff, not on me drawing anything. You do have the fatal push. I figured that was a fatal push in hand for a minute, so Where fort art thou, Tamios? I'm not asking for much. Just give me a Tamio. Yeah, there's 3 in here, and we've seen 1. If he catches on and gets Pithing Needle to name Tamio, Bobble's fine. But I just want to make sure I set up for, like, when I do find Tamio, if I can flip her right away, that I've got lethal as soon as the second bridge is off the board. Dig through some of these land pockets. As long as I have enough cards in my library to, like, dig for Tamio enough, it's fine. That's, like, my only concern is I'm gonna find the Tamio and just not have enough cards in my library to tick up to buy back sync 3 times. Think we're cooked? How do you think we're cooked here? Like, we have a very real out. We just need to find a Tamio. I also need to be worried about, like, clicking fast enough to get the win. Maybe we should have surveilled with Kaito before preordain. Maybe, but if I go for preordain with a known Tamio on top, he can just, like, immediately lantern that away, right? So I would just, like, be locked into having to cling to dust. I'm trying to save this cling to dust as a draw 1 to make sure I get this Tamio and he can't lantern it away. I don't really want to keep surveilling with Kaito if I don't have to. All right. WinCon is on the board. And we can go ahead and flip it this turn because I can Bowmaster ping them. 0 Kaito. Because we did damage with the Bowmaster. Top, whatever. Draw off Cling to Dust. Five. It's A-okay with me. All I care about is flipping this Tamio. Go. So all I gotta do is fight through 3 copies of Ensnaring Bridge. And we get Bowmaster pings. Kind of forgot about those. They drew 2 lands. Ancient Stirrings. I'll let this go. Got a Tezzeret. That's fine. Subtlety that. Tezzeret back on top. Okay. Got to be a little careful of cards in my library. Is there any way we can kill with Frog here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. Oh. Bowmaster ping you. Go to Fair. 0 Kaito. I think I just go ahead and get rid of one of these bridges. Or do I? Maybe I want to be able to Tameo tick up on 3 consecutive turns. But it's kind of like, now that I'm committed this far into this game, I have to win this game. I don't really have time to play a 3rd game. All right, so they've got 3 bridges. Guess we just tick up Tameo to 10 next turn. And try to kill with just like 3 consecutive down ticks. So if I minus on a bridge right now, Picking up. I'm gonna keep this polluted delta on top. Well, if I ult Tamio right now, I'm only drawing 6 cards. Well, I guess that's lethal. Never mind. I'm retarded. All right, so this is still 6 cards drawn. But I would have to minus Tamio this turn and then ult next turn. They've got Inquisition coming off the top. Kaito stun another. Pick up, sink into stupor, bounce a bridge. Five to discard. It's 1 short if I stun a blocker, right? Oh, wait, no, I can ninjutsu in the second Kaito. So I can go buy back a sink a bridge, stun a construct. Go ahead and jump the frog just so I don't forget to do that. Attack. Block. Discard 1. Discard 2. Discard 3. Discard 4. Ninjutsu in second Kaito. Pick up Bowmasters. New Kaito. Kaito. Basic Swamp, my arch nemesis. Salt has impressed me so far in testing for that reason. Instant speed is so much better. Yeah, instant speed is pretty clutch. The only problem I've got as far as, I don't know if this is Amulet. No, it is Broodscale. The only problem I've got with the consult the star charts over something like preordain or consider is not being able to help out with your like 1 land keeps. But I also recognize I'm extremely greedy. I'm keeping one landers like all the time. Misses, or if they nabbed something. Besage you, burn. I could have saved the Thoughtseize, but like anything they draw from here on out, they're just going to be able to cast. So there's not really a lot of merit to holding up. Keep both of those. I'm really hoping I can like play out FrogTide next turn and then have hard cast Subtlety the turn after. And then maybe be able to Kaito Ninjutsu the Subtlety and just like tempo out a few turns from there. Or I'll have FrogTide next turn with like Subtlety. Fleshraker, Blade of the Blood Chief, Saga. Clearing Fleshraker. I'm going to not be overly greedy here. I could go for a Surveil land, but if they respond with exiling my yard to the Soul Guide Lantern, I would feel pretty awful. So well, I don't think Kaito is necessarily great here, but I think it's card advantage that I kind of need desperately. And if I get to double up on Subtlety, that would be pretty nice. All right. Definitely an awkward spot to be in. And we're going to go for the kill. If they got a Kozilek's command, they got a Kozilek's command, but if I get to just like free snipe this Fleshraker, Annoying, not the end of the world. Got Kaito stun. Kaito stun, just put him on a 2-turn clock. Seiju. Stern Scolding protects us from another Chrysalis, a Flesh Raker, or a called Broodscale. Who was out there saying Kaito not good into Broodscale? Want to identify yourself? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Can they Emrakul me this turn? I think they can. Enchantment, land, artifact, creature, sorcery. Yeah, they can Emrakul. Why didn't we go for ninjutsu subtlety so we had extra interaction? Chrysalis has reach. Trust me, I would have loved to, but then Kaito can stun my own creature. So they can just like suicide the Murktide into the Emrakul, give up Kaito to tap down my own subtlety. Rip. All right, well, we found one of the few times that Spell Snare would have been better than Stern Scolding. Broodscale. Back against the Emrakul. Emrakul, what a fun card. Just another card in the very, very long, concerning line of, hey, this says I can reduce the cost by a lot. And that totally makes me fair and balanced, right? Like, evoke elementals. You just reduce my cost by 5. I'm fair, right? Actually, strategic betrayal is probably okay. Dude, and hit the yard. Trying to think of what counterspell package I want. I know I've got Consign coming in. Like that. Riley, what's up? It's okay till Rumble K command made it easy to play. Unfortunately true. This feels pretty trappy to me. I need a frog. Better. Back into dust. All right, so our entire game is going to hinge on whether or not our opponent has got Dismember right here. No Dismember, we got a pretty good chance. They got Dismember, we are cooked. Fear in the dojo. And it wants to just go all in on constructs. Yep. Want that one quite a bit. Fly the frog so they can't just have a free saga block here. It's keep coming, eh? I'll seize you. You have Veil of Summer. I can respond with Fatal Push. Don't have double colorless for these Kozilek's commands, but they do just have backup combo. Whole backup combo, you say. So if I take the other Broodscale and Fatal Push this one, I can just drop down EE on 0. Oh yeah, you're right about the Grove. All right. But they would have to float the colorless and go for it like on their turn. I should respond to that. That's on me. Probably okay. Definitely should have responded to the activation with Fatal Push, the Broodscale. kind of hope this is just get another blade and I'll respond to equipping. Anyway, so we'll kill it with 3 more health. I do have to give up this spawn token to go for a Kozilek's command. Okay. Something. No colorless source. No colorless source. No colorless source. Damn it. Not only is it a colorless source, it's the best colorless source. I guess Saga would have been pretty good as well. Tried one to the top. They didn't make any constructs. Okay. Also seems okay. Assume that's not what they kept on top. The Solicices. Counterspell this. I want them finding like a Saga, even though they've already played their land. If you want to put that back on top. I would be thrilled if you do. They do. Back. I don't believe that you can draw both a Basking Broodscale and a Cavern of Souls. Anything I'm changing up going to game 3. I think it's really, do I want Shieldred's Edict back in? I guess it's fine since it can hit a I don't want Force to. Down to Tameo. Really kind of want to go down like a Subtlety. Subtlety is pretty good into fast Fleshraker starts. Bot, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. Good. Really all about these vexing baubles, aren't they? Fleshraker. I need you to not have anything impactful right here. Nothing impactful. This, what did I just say? Just said nothing. Now, if I hit the land, I'm absolutely playing out the Harbinger here. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. Heck. Don't decide to do this on a good hand game 3. What's the meaning of the Ritzy in the title of the deck list? It's Mattia Ritzy's like 69-ish of the 75 we're playing. So pointing that out. It'll be a good day if we can find our third land. If I don't find my third land, it's going to turn very, very sour very quickly. Popping the frog. I think getting to this third land is more important. Discard the Murktide. Probably discard the second frog because I'm not playing that this turn. Do I think that I can win against just a stream of Saga tokens? I've got Fatal Push and Edict. I'd be taking 3 next turn. I think I do realistically because I'm playing out Harbinger. They go to their turn, make a 3/3. Attack in. I take it down to 15. I go to my turn, discard like 3 cards into the frog, hit for 6 in the air, put them down to 10. And if they just do the same thing again the next turn, I've just got like discard 4 cards, have a lethal frog. I hear what y'all are saying, but hear me out. That's fine. No attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in yard. You have to discard something. I think I just discard the edict. I might have to make this a 3-turn clock instead of 2. I can just like make sure that I'm not. This is fine. Like wipes out. Oh, they don't even get a trigger off Blade because Blade's a death trigger and Strategic Betrayal exiles. Yeah, when Final Fantasy dropped, they changed the rules on Saga. So effectively, it checks to see if it's got lore counters or legal lore counters, chapter abilities, whatnot, before Harbinger applies to it now. So it just gets to like sit around with any abilities that it's already gained. But if they play a Saga after a Harbinger's on the board, it comes in, it gets its 1 lore counter, but it never gains any abilities. So it just like taps for a blue, but it's a Saga with a lore counter. Weird. Walking Ballista for 3. Right, so now I get a couple extra points of damage in. Bottom. Token. Doesn't scolding work there? No. X spells have a defined CMC on the stack. So it is 6 CMC on the stack. And its power and toughness was 3. I think its power and toughness is 3. Might have been wrong. If I could have scolding, that should have scolding, but sure it showed 3. Right. Shouldn't show 3 though, should it? Work. Not Liquid Fear. Thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. GH coming around and hanging out. What are the odds we hit another land? On the draw, I'm going to keep it. If they're on the Simic matchup, this hand's got like a lot of stuff I really, really want. Stern Scolding, Bowmasters, Frog, Removal Spell. Well, Swamp's also my only non-blue source, and I've got 5 black cards in hand. Six black cards in hand. Plus, I got to redraw off the cling, so like maybe. Well, we tried. Saw some cards. Cards did not work out. On the draw, 3 looks at a land. Definitely close. I can understand not keeping it though. Endurance on top. All right. Not a good reason for keeping it. So not keeping a hand that's got like actively 6 cards I want in the matchup, and all it's missing is a second land of any sort because every other land in the deck produces blue with 3 looks on the draw. You think that's not an okay enough reason? Like, I'm definitely not saying it's, oh, auto, snap, keep, anything like that, but I think it's a little crazy to say that hand didn't have like some positive stuff going for it. Kill spells slow down birthing ritual, which is all you want to be doing in the first couple turns, is not letting them like loop into an Oculus. Plus, being on the draw, you can't rely on counterspell stopping a turn 2 birthing ritual. It had Bowmaster, it had Frog, it had Stern Scolding, like the best counter that I've got access to. So you'd be happier to keep Force of Negation into like the 40 creature deck, but not the removal spell? Let's see, Sarutori, Apple Thora of Soup. Or no, a plethora of soup. Oh my god. I was like, why'd you misspell apple? Thank y'all so much for the follows. I'll take that L. Saying if there was 3 removal spells, Swamp, Force Negation, Blue Spell, and Cling, I would say is a fine keep. So I think that's actually worse because you're saying no Frog. And Frog, I think, is like a big significant part of that keep decision there. Like, the reason for the keep in my mind was Stern Scolding, Frog, Bowmasters, a removal spell that could hit like a an Oculus. They've got double sink into stupor. Coiling Oracle's gone. Shardless is gone. I know about another sink into stupor and endurance. Dismember. What I take here. Go ahead and cling now in case I draw into a Murktide. So I play this out big enough to dodge Dismember and they sink into Stupor it. But if I play it out smaller, then they just Dismember it. And Conundrum. And now I can't play it back out because it dies to Dismember. Fucking Yugi over here. Well, I had to know that my one of Murktide still in the deck was coming sooner or later, right? I thought they were about to hit me with an Ice Fang Quaddle into a what's it called? Ice Fang Quaddle into counter thing. Flare of Denial. Go power Murktide. Subtlety. Subtlety is fine. They go. Whatever this is, I'm assuming is less fine. Show me a counter spell. Counter spell. Not a counter spell. Shardless agent. Ugh. Thing that finds you another spell. That is a brutal, brutal draw. Well, the death touch on Ice Fang doesn't matter. It's the fact that they have a blocker now. I kill this, they pay for, or they have a blocker for my token. So I kill this, they dismember my Murktide, go to 2, Murktide becomes 1 power, and I can't get through with my Orc Army token. So it's just them putting 2 bodies on the board here. Really messed me up here. So now, like, I have to pass, but passing means that they can attack in. I block, push the Ice Fang. They dismember my Murktide, and I'm still not presenting lethal. Now I have no board. They've got a subtlety and a shardless agent. Can't really do anything else. Like, if I attack, I'm definitely dead. If I hold back, I'm probably dead. Bowmaster top deck wouldn't even do it because they'd be going down to, well, now they only go down to 4 off of this dismember. That also works. So this is kind of being greedy on their part because now I would actually win the game if I had another Bowmaster. I'd just be able to Bowmaster, shoot down the Ice Fang, block here, kill him on the backswing. But because my last card is in fact not a Bowmaster, I'm dead. Last seen 1 day ago on Blue Red Jeskai Control. Keep. I am throwing back what? Like, if I can just resolve this Kaito, I'm probably winning with that. I think I'm throwing back Stern Scolding, hoping they don't have like a double Tamio start. Oh no, energy. Well, life a little more complicated. I think if they go for a goblin bombardment, I'm letting it go and saving the counterspell for a Johnny. They go for a Johnny, I'll counterspell. I think I just don't want the I don't want the power on board. Top deck, the most annoying 2-drop known to man. What's my plan from here? I need to get FrogTide down. Kaito can pretty easily be force fuel. Push does answer Flage at some point. I think I need Frog at the moment. On to Johnny. Raven Charm. That seems pretty all right. So if I go strategic betrayal, they sack the cat token. Put the this is only death. So strategic betrayal does not trigger the cat to or trigger the Ajani. It would have to respond with sacking the token. I respond with fatal push the Ajani. They get a ping, but I get to keep attacking. pretty good one. This is currently 4 damage. They would sack the Ocelot Pride, flip the Ajani, make a dude. Is there any way I just blow this out? Like if I let this go, they have to sack the Ocelot Pride. But if I go for the Fatal Push, then they can sack the Ajani, kill the Murktide. If they sack the Ocelot, trigger the Ajani, go to flip the Ajani, make a token, I can't do anything about it. So I think I have to go for kill the Ajani. And make them sack off the Ocelot Pride. Or not be able to flip the Ajani. The Ajani. So they can kill the Murktide if they give up their entire board. They don't have to give up their entire board. And Forge. No clue why they didn't take this line last turn. What line? Didn't have a line to take last turn. Didn't have like the Ragavan last turn. Like they could have played out the Flage, but they would have been giving up everything to go for the Flage line, right? This way they like kept a card around. I just need you to stop ripping things. I need you to flood out like normal people. Honestly shocked they didn't have a 1-drop there. Dead to a flage. Ugh. Gross. It's crazy how quickly Boros can create board states sometimes. Yeah. I don't know that. Maybe I should have gone for the counter spell on the Goblin Bombardment, but like my thought was I didn't want power on board so I could get down Kaito and not just lose Kaito to a Flage ETB right off the bat. But then they ripped the Voice of Victory off the top, and it's like, okay, well, I have to counter that, or I don't get to counter anything else. So that like forced my hand on the counter spell there. And then I had to let the Ajani resolve, and things just got really dicey from that point on. Now, are we keeping a 1-lander with a dream? Got a Surveil land on the play. So I'm getting to see up to 2 extra cards. It's a list for today. You can hit exclamation deck or exclamation deck list in chat. It'll pop it up. Let's see if we hit the land before I make a decision here. Do hit the land. So you can have Ragavan. They go. Shambler, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. Nothing on turn 2. Two force the right place to be in this meta? Could be. I like 3 force, but I've kind of been on like 3 force and a subtlety, kind of balances each other out a little bit. taking Spyro, take the redraw. Did in fact need that Ragavan pretty bad. Aired Mason, the bin. Cast out a Flage right here if they want. On auto yield in case it's like Blood Moon. I guess maybe there was a chance I was supposed to go for like taking Flage, exiling Ragavan to let them Spyro into the Bowmasters, but I feel like I'd just rather deal with the thing. I've got a lot of answers to Flage in hand. I know people have done the math on what's it called? Force of Will in Legacy and like how many blue cards you need to reliably pitch Force. But as far as Modern goes, I'm really not sure what the percent is. Fatal Push this so I can keep attacking even if it's not for a lot. $16-1. Are you saying like 16 as in you need 16 cards for every one Force of Will? Because I don't think you're going to have 64 blue cards in your Force of Will deck. But I could be wrong. Or 68 cards because you would need, I guess, no, 64 is right. Because your other 3 Force of Wills would count towards your count. I think I'm just going to go for Cling to Dust here to redraw. Always make sure I have 16 blue cards in hand when I'm forced. I have those options. I think for me, I usually want around like 20 blue spells or so if I'm on 2 or 3 Force Negation. But I don't think there's like an obvious, this is how many you want. Go lower because 16 to 18 was for Force of Will, which is uncastable. I could have sworn Force of Will, or the Force of Will math was like 26 or something pretty high like that. But I could be wrong. Oh. Waiting for this arena. so upset if this is okay. When they only used 1 red mana from the arena, I was like, if this is voice plus like Spyro, I'm gonna cry. I'm just going to like straight up shed tears. $28 is for Vile. Like, I know people have done the math on Vile, Delver flips, Force of Will, Collected Company, like how many hits you need to have each one approximately 95% of the time or whatever. But it also comes down to like, how often do you want to cast the thing on turn 1 versus turn 3 or whatever. They ever just not have the 1 drop? You say what a hand until we just lose to a turn 1 Ocelot Pride. Like Ocelot Pride or Ragavan on 1 just kind of ruins our day. We just need you to not do anything. They do run 12 1-drops. Yeah, but like Guide of Souls, we don't care about. Guide of Souls is completely fine. It's just Ocelot Pride or Ragavan. And I don't know the number breakdown on those two. I assume it's not favorable for us, but we will absolutely survive if our opponent's relying on other ones. Go first, easy. Yeah, you're right. I think of that. That's a big balls attack. That's just like asking to get Bowmaster, ping here, double block. Like, what do they have to follow this up that is just going to ruin my entire existence? I stern scolding this, and then it's just like third land Spyro, lose the game on the spot, right? Like Voice of Victory or nothing. Not a threat. You're not a threat. Yeah, our position does not feel wonderful at the moment. Especially when I'm considering just edict to sack away one of these cats. Hold up. Brothers, hold. Hold. Mother. Why do you get the static prison? Why do you have to have that too? Brother in Christ. One less thing. Just upkeep Thraben charm. Shut off my FrogTide. Okay. Why not Merc counter for prison? Because they had a known flage in the yard. Like if I Merc hold up counter spell, then they can just go for prison. I have to counter that. If they have a land, they have a hasty flage. I'm sure not beating that. Dude, what do I gotta do here? What on earth am I supposed to do? I'm just dead to any creature off the top. Triple Ocelot Pride. Double Static Prison. Arena Flage. Goblin Bombardment of Johnny. Well, if I make them sack a token, then they just shoot me. Like, they can just shoot me twice, and I'm still dead to any dude off the top. Now that, I think, was wrong. Meat coming in with the raid. Thank you so much. Returning the favor, I see. Hope you had an awesome stream. Welcome everybody from Meat's channel. We are currently, what, 4-1 in the challenge or something like that, trying to maybe stabilize a little bit against Boros at 2 life. We'll see. We're not dead yet. Not very alive, but we're not dead. Get Frog back next turn. Like, that's got to count for something. Subtlety keeps something off the board for a turn. We get a Frog hit in. Opponent just keeps ripping lands like a Chad. Interesting. Interesting. We're just going to take 2 here. Yeah, Cling to Dust would be a goated draw. An opponent's flooding pretty hard over here. Definitely not doing that. 3, we get to see what we draw. Probably just discarding that to get FrogTide down. Get down FrogTide, hold up counters, or hold up subtlety. Ripping hot fire with this Ajani. 3, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15. Looking at lethal at the moment. Do we want to play around? They put Ajani back on top. If I go all in on the attack, we're dead to Galvanic Discharge. And I think that's it. Well, all in isn't forced, because if I respond to the Ajani with Sink into Stupor on the Goblin Bombardment, I can force it on the way back down. And Ajani just by itself doesn't do anything. So their other card would have to be a second copy of Goblin Bombardment. When I last seen 6 days ago on Mono Green Tron. Wizards Rockets. Actual factual Tron. 4 Ugin Eye of Storms. 4 Tezzeret Cruel Captain. Oh God. You're cooked. We are so beyond cooked. 4 Devourers, 4 Ugin Eye of the Storms, 4 Tezzerets all in the main. I got a mole for like a Thought Seize or a Force of Negation. I can't keep a fair hand on the draw. What am I getting rid of? I think it is preordained. Children's Edict's not great, but I might just want it to get rid of like a Tezzeret. Scrying, Ugin. Big payoff. Yeah, I mean, any hand we would have had would have been better on the play, but especially if we're just ripping the missing Tron land. All right, well, I guess glad I took the payoff, so we'll see if they have another one. Just Kozilek, oh, Chalice. Okay. Chalice with a map. They don't have any copies of like Blast Zone. I get rid of the island too. I'm gonna keep the Thought Seize so I can get rid of this Sylvan Scrying out of their hand. And we'll play out Tamio so we have something to get some extra cards for Frog. I also noticed that they have an Odawara in their deck. What on earth is this? Exile, Abstergo, Entertainment. Return up to 1 target historic card from your graveyard to your hand, then exile all graveyards. What the ever-living shit is this? I have never seen this card before in my life. But they get to just get back in Ugin. And I just threw away my Thought Seize. This. Abstergo Entertainment. All right, game 2. Regroup. So they're definitely not playing the same list they played last time because they had Urza's Saga, they had that entertainment card. Both of which I have never seen before. Abstergo Entertainment. E for Chalice and Saga tokens. I don't think I want to play that game. I think I'd rather just be like, all my cards are reasonable here. Be aggressive, be proactive. Don't try to sit back too much. I can't throw back turn 2 Frog on the play. Like, I would be shipping this to look for a hand with Thoughtseize or Force of Negation. But I could just find a Force of Negation or a Harbinger off of Preordain. Just held up Counterspell. I think I took the worst of like all possible lines there. Could have just jammed Frog, could have held up Counterspell. But like at the same time, opponent just having natural Tron, not needing to scrying for it or anything is pretty rough. I don't like how I played this game at all. Deserve to lose this one. Like, it was definitely playing in a way that was, I hope you don't have Tron on 3. Instead of playing in a way that was like, I'm going to interact with Tron on 3. Or interact with you getting Tron on 3. Ultimately, I don't think it mattered because just having natural Tron is like good enough, especially keeping 7 with natural Tron. Got this thing to get back. Ugh. So I don't like how I played, but I don't think I was beating these draws anyway. Maybe I could have, maybe like Frog on 2, consign Ugin on 3, counter spell Karn on 4, but they just have this thing to like get back the Ugin again. And I don't have an answer for it coming back again, so oh boy. It's going to be another one of these decisions of like, do we keep the one lander like we did against Simic that's got a good bit of answers? Or are we mulliganing on the draw against like our worst matchup? We got punished last time. Surely we won't get punished again. Second land, second land, second land. Like crazy. Yep. Riddler, Ephemerate, Witch Enchanter. And wisely goes for the Riddler. We are going to try to hit the land. Because if I don't, I still have Subtlety Evoke. All right, this is where we ban Blue Rouge from the channel for saying keep. Kidding. On the draw into like a horrendous matchup, I'm not going to get upset about trying to high roll. See? Easy. Let you have this. Flicker Wisp trigger on the stack. Let's go for a Bowmaster. Want to burn the Flicker or the Ephemerate now. I think I'm okay with that. Another Flicker Wisp. Game 2. All right, so our punishment for today has been keeping one landers. How Mattia was sideboarding with this. It's really like whether I want the Harbingers or if I want to drop the Consigns, which I think Consigns, like, fortunately, a necessary evil. Go like that. Hey, turn 2 Frog on the play. A counter spell for a Warp Dude. This is a reasonably good 7. I agree. Best thing about this hand is it has more than one land. Truth. Truth. Okay, too many lands. Dial it back, deck. And I think I'm just going to pass through here, hold up Counterspell for Overlord instead of going for the Frog. I really don't want to get tempoed out by, like, end of turn, Fatal Push the Frog, untap Overlord. Blue card. Good. Not a blue card, but not one I will complain about. Solitude. Solitude, Flicker Wisp, Emperor of Bones. We're just taking Witch Enchanter and putting them down a land drop. Are we taking... Doesn't really matter if I take a Solitude. I've got Shieldred's Edict for Emperor, so I think I'm just taking Witch Enchanter. Play out the Frog. Rather, I'm like, have to use up a bunch of resources now than get to wait. Go after my counter spell. Sure. And Solitude off Flicker Wisp. Their hand is Solitude and an unknown. Hand is Solitude. I'm passing with the Shieldred's Edict up here because I want them to eat a card out of their yard. Oh, come on. Come on. What a rip. What an absolute unit of a draw step. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Man. Into the Overlord. Another Emperor. I can't sink into Stupor this Emperor of Bones because then they just get to resolve a Riddler. These draws have just been a little bit of hot fire. Riddler into Riddler, Emperor of Bones. Back a Witch Enchanter, sure. Bright side is we get to Spell Snare the Witch Enchanter on the way back. Or Spell Snare the Emperor, but they got Solitude too. Riddler, in my opinion, is starting to feel problematic early on so far. Definitely Uro sort of vibes. Makes it. Oh, here's an opportunity to go over how much better would Stern Scolding have been than Spell Snare. Gonna rip every draw step. Riddler into Overlord into Overlord. Do me a favor and just like whiff. No. All right. Felia blinks Murktide, shrinks it down to a 3/3. Just Nope. nope, 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 nope. We'll move on from that one. Honestly, every time I've played against this deck, this is exactly how they've drawn. It's kind of the same way I feel against Boros, where there's just so many turns of like, if you whiff this one turn, like just give me one turn off from having to have something, then we can play a game of Magic. Like, instead of hitting another Riddler off the first Riddler, just hit like a Flicker Wisp. And we're talking, we're having a game. But when it's Riddler into second Riddler and they're both drawing 2, then it's too much to overcome. Matchup is a feel bad. Like, I'm okay with having a bad matchup in Modern. Or like even a 5% matchup, anything like that. I'm completely okay with that. I don't think it's fair to say our deck should have a 50-50 into everything. I'm okay with like Blink being our arch enemy. I'm just not okay with every card being like a 2-for-1 on the opposing side. Just everything being so good and unable to interact with profitably. Like if there was a good card that we could main deck that was a good answer into like Quantum Riddler, I'd be a-okay with that. But there's just nothing that's like good into that card and okay into the rest of the format. That's where it's just like a little bit much. I don't want to have to go play like Narset to have a good shot into Riddler. But like I said, it's okay. That's how it goes sometimes. Bits, GG's. It was great watching you play. I always love hearing you think through lines, learn a lot, or learn a ton watching you play. Well, that's all I can ask for. Like, if you're learning something, then I'm doing a good job here. And I'm completely okay with that. What are your thoughts against red-white energy? Well, we played against it twice this challenge and won both of those. So I don't hate the matchup. I could have played a little bit cleaner against it, and it was still reasonable. So, like, I'm okay seeing energy for the most part. Getting my Riddlers altered into Jim Carrey, good or bad idea? Fantastic idea. Like, God tier idea. The only thing that would be better... Now, I guess if you got, like, Riddlers across the ages, but if you want them to match, then I think really good idea. But we're going to call it there. We're going to send everybody over to Young Dingo, if I could hit the backslash correctly. I'm going to send everybody over to Dingo. So if you're wanting to check out some blue-white blink, that's what Dingo's on. You can see more Riddler action. Woo. But other than that, thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. Again, thank you to the new and returning subscribers, new followers, which if you're liking the content, feel free to hit the follow button. Doesn't cost you anything, just lets you know when we go live.